guys? Welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled 38-year-old woman decides she wants a baby, claims she's been betrayed by feminism. And a big shout out to Anshu for sending me this story. And guys, like the title says, this is about a gal. She's in her late 30s and she is having a meltdown. A whole meltdown in the article because being close to 40, she woke up one day and realized she doesn't have the life that she really deeply wanted all along. No husband, no kids, no big family, that type of thing. She's alone, hates it, blah, blah, blah. And she blames not herself, not TikTok, not Instagram. She blames feminism for her woes. Now, let me just say this. I'm not going to deny that the movement, if you will, hasn't done its damage, particularly the modern movement. Fourth wave, fifth wave, 16th wave, whatever freaking wave we're on right now, it's definitely done its damage. But at the end of the day, she, as an adult, made her life choices and put her in the situation where she is right now, as many gals find themselves as they move along later in life and realize the single life of riding the carousel, being the so-called strong, independent type, and doing all that, the Sex and the City lifestyle doesn't exactly end a whole lot of happiness. And so, blaming the feminist movement, all that. And that'd be a good one to go over here, guys, to show you what you're going to see more of and to be careful. Because a lot of guys watching right now, whether you want to admit it or not, are relationship guys. And I don't want you guys to fall prey to a lot of gals that would never, ever give you the time of day when they're younger. But when they wake up and have moments like this, they realize they've been wasting their lives, blah, 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 and want the family, want the kids, the whole traditional thing. And they choose you, who they wouldn't give the time of day of. They'll pick the guys to hook up with, have fun with during their prime years, and then they'll settle for the guys in the friend zone, that type of thing, when, okay, I want to get a husband, I want a kid, and that guy will never, ever have her heart or love, and it can lead to an unhappy marriage, unhappy life. So you got to be careful. And, of course, the whole gals and accountability type of thing. But also, you're going to see in this story, this article, she was already married. She was married, had all that, and threw it all away. But anyhow, I thought it'd be an interesting one to go over here today. It says here, a woman says she felt betrayed by feminism after deciding she wanted to settle down, have a family, and a husband as she approached her 39th birthday. At one point during the interview with Fox News Digital, she broke down crying, describing how she feared she'd end up alone and childless. Oh, for goodness sake, stop acting like a child. Stop putting on the show for the cameras, okay? You made your choices, honey, okay? It's not the end of the world. What's probably going on here is that she's said approaching her 39th birthday, is that it's probably not as easy as it once was for her to get guys. Pretty girl in her 20s, no problem. But once they get to the 30, particularly pushing 40, now look, let's be honest, guys are pigs. We all know we're pigs, and we'll pretty much nail anything that is under a certain weight and has bathed or showered within 24 hours. And maybe as long as our friends don't find out, let's be honest here, but most of us are pigs. But still, she's not getting relationships out of these types. So, reality's really hitting home. It says here, Melissa Persling recently wrote an essay for Business Insider titled, "I'm 38 and single, and I recently realized I want a child. I'm terrified I missed my opportunity." She said after it went viral in November, hate began to pour in from men telling her that she's lived a selfish life. Persling has a much different account of her story. Here's the deal, guys. You don't want to get married and have kids. That's your business. Man or woman. End of freaking story here. And a lot of guys are going to be like, what? No, I'm serious. But then down the road later in life, if you then realize, I made a mistake, I'm alone, fine. Own up to it. Don't blame, in this case, feminism or social media or everybody else under the sun except for yourself for your bad choices. And not to mention if you had a great opportunity beforehand. Okay? We all change our minds, but don't blame everybody else except yourself. When Persling, now listen to this, was 22 years old, she married a traditional man and moved to a rural community in some place in Idaho that I can't pronounce, where she grew up. 22. Got married. Now what's wrong with that? Too young. That's stupid. She and her guy are both boneheads for getting married so young, inexperienced. Obviously not a whole lot of money, not very far in their career, but she was already married. She said she's quoted as saying, "He wanted a simple life with children and home-cooked meals." However, Persling, despite coming from a religious Christian background, made it clear to her husband-to-be that she did not want children. So I'm assuming that she made that clear prior to the nuptials. How dumb is this? Get married that young, and both parties are dumbasses. She was a dumbass for getting married that young, and so was he. And she made it clear that she doesn't want to have kids, and he married her anyway. That's not going to work out very well, kids. Okay? And she married a guy knowing full well he wanted kids. So this is just a recipe for disaster. At the time, I felt I was very strongly I did not want kids, that I wasn't going to be like a traditional housewife. I knew I did want to pursue a career, she told Fox News Digital in an interview, and I felt very strongly that that would never change, and I guess I was wrong. That, well, if you wanted to be, let's read between the lines, a strong, independent woman, no husband, no family, no kids, fine. Then why'd you get married at 22? I noticed that you came from a Christian religious background. Pretty much everybody comes from some background in varying degrees of religion. Most people, but there's degrees to that. So unless she was somehow coerced or forced into it somehow against her will and under duress, she got married by her own choice. But yet she wants to have this lifestyle, but she's still getting married this young. You see how dumb this is to get married young? How a lot of people don't use their heads here. But she had a husband. She had a traditional marriage, which she now at 40 years old wants now. Persling said both her and her ex thought that love could conquer everything. Yeah, how well has that always worked out? But after 10 years, it was clear that the differences in their goals were irreconcilable. Persling said she became resentful when he would ask for dinner or his laundry to be done. 10 years. You guys, there are irreconcilable differences before you even said I do. And why'd you get married? Shocker. He wanted his dinner and his laundry to be done. Well, if she doesn't have a job, I'm not sure she had a job during this time period, and he's bringing home the bacon, taking care of, paying for everything, then goddamn it, she can cook in some freaking home-cooked dinners and laundry. On the other hand, if she's working as well, and I'm not quite sure, then guess what, motherfucker? You can throw some stuff in the washing machine and cook your own goddamn food. There's a grill out back. You can grill some steaks. But both parties can do chores in the house. I'm fine with that. I did little to hide my disdain for our small-town life. He was a good and hard-working man, but I don't think I made him feel that way, she said. Oh, she made him feel like shit. At 30 years old, Persling and her ex divorced, she swore off the idea of marriage. So what do you want to bet that she probably had friends that throughout their 20s were doing what girls in their 20s do nowadays, living it up, social media, broadcasting their life for everybody to see, the carousel, you name it. And she was definitely getting an itch to see what life was like on the other side of the track. You know, see if the grass was greener on the other side, if you will. I guess the other side of the track is more about economic things, so my bad, take that back. But grass is greener on the other side. And divorced the guy and the lifestyle that she now claims at almost 40 years old she wants. I told my family and friends I'd never get married again. I need independence, a fulfilling career, and a space to chart my own course. And I didn't think marriage fit into that vision. I was content to look forward to look toward a future without a husband, children, or the trappings of traditional life, she wrote. Trappings? At the end of the day, I'm sure this husband of yours, yeah, he wanted kids and stuff like that, and if he was working all the time, wanted some food and some laundry done. But she said he was a good man. So it didn't sound like you were in a horrible situation. Well, let's see how this whole being strong and independent, she wrote independent, fulfilling career, and she left out the part that we all know is coming. As she grew older, however, the fun, carefree lifestyle, being wined and dined, going to parties began to get old. The pursuit of comfort and self became dull, she said. So, carefree lifestyle, being wined and dined, and going to parties. So let's read between the lines here. I think she was making up for lost time and was having a good old time on the dating apps and everything. And I don't know how she looked in her 20s, maybe early 30s, but there's some pictures of her in the article. And personally, this is just me, I don't find her attractive at all. She's a blonde, she's got long blonde hair, and maybe back in the day she looked good. You know, maybe they're bad pictures, but I don't find her attractive at all. Kind of looks like she has some bad plastic surgery. When she turned 38, terror began to take over. Were those her words, or is that just the media spicing this article with terror? She says, I was panic-stricken. I really thought I'm going to be alone forever. It really scared me. I almost wrote the article as a sort of warning to other women. I don't want people to miss out on the important things in life because they're just enjoying themselves, because I don't think that's ever going to really make you happy, she said. Well, look, define enjoying yourself. You can be married and have kids, and you can have an occasional getaway with your husband for the weekend. Kids stay with grandma and grandpa or aunt and uncle or something like that. And you and your husband can stay at a nice hotel, do a little traveling, wine and dine. It's not all the time. So you can have nice things in life. It depends on what you define as nice. But here's the thing. You had a guy back then. Too young, but you had a guy who wanted that lifestyle, but you didn't want that. But now you're close to 40. Now, is this really more like the fact that she's getting close to 40 and she's not as physically desirable as she once was? It's not as easy. So now I'm ready to settle. And when these gals are ready to settle, who do they go for? Now watch this. She wrote in the article how she felt urgency to find a stable relationship and was rethinking about wanting marriage and children. Urgency. There should be no urgency when it comes to major life decisions like getting married. Otherwise, it could end in disaster. She says, I hardly recognize myself. She wrote in the article, I also began to feel selfish for spending so much time focused solely on myself. My very existence started to feel shallow and hollow. Guys, there's nothing wrong with focusing on yourself and take care of yourself. But the thing is that she was kind of going down what she was. I'm reading between the lines here, what I refer to as Sodom Gomorrah 2.0 lifestyle. She's not mentioning Tinder or the dating apps or how many dudes she was romantic with during those years. I'm sure the number was up there amongst many other things, but you do this long enough, you can read between the lines. In retrospect, personally believes she had some self-discovery and work for herself to do. And it took time to sort through previous trauma. Her parents' divorce, which she described as coming from a broken home, took time to heal and sort through to find out what she really wanted. Hang on. Her parents are divorced, had an impact on her, like it can on a lot of young folks. So she got married really young, and then the same thing happened. How does that make any sense? She says, I grew up in a fairly traditional family, but my parents were divorced. And I would say that probably had some effect on my feelings, and having a family coming from a broken home certainly had its hardships. At one point, she recalled a man coming over to her in a coffee store who randomly told her not to lose hope that God had a plan for her. And then a happy turn to Persling's story arrived, which she describes as the exception and not the rule for women in her age group. Shortly after penning the article, she dated a man who she previously befriended. They're already talking about marriage and a future. Oh, for goodness sake, already? This is a very short, remember the urgency part? Rushing into something like this is a terrible idea. Now listen about the guy she met. She dished on the details. So it's a guy that I've been friends with, and we've always just sort of stayed in touch. As we did go on one date about a year ago, and I told him, I just want to be friends with you. So a guy that she went out with before one time, wasn't interested, before she had her revelation, went on a date with, good guy, not interested, but let's just be friends. Kept him in the friend zone, or shall I say, suggested the friend zone, let's just be friends. He willingly agreed to be in the friend zone, stupid idea. And now all of a sudden when she's found religion, if you will, she wants to go down a different lifestyle. Now he's the guy she can choose. The same type of guy she wouldn't have given the time of day of beyond that first date, just probably getting a free dinner out of it. Now he's okay to marry. Believe me, if she didn't suddenly want to settle down, she wouldn't have gotten involved. The type of guy she really wanted, she knows darn well, aren't the marrying types, aren't the dad types. You all know what I'm talking about here. But this guy, this is why I'm doing this article, guys. Be careful, because the gals, when they're ready to settle, they're going to choose guys they would never really give the time of day to. And those guys are never going to, she'll never look at the same, she'll never look at those guys the same, love them the same, and certainly not F them the same in the bedroom like the guys that she really wants. It's the ugly truth. I know what I say isn't popular with a lot of people, but it's the fucking truth. After her epiphany that she wanted traditional life, the realization that he was the one hit her like a ton of bricks. What a load of crap. No, like he's the one that's left over. He's the one that stuck around the friend zone. This guy, yeah, smacked to him. I should have smacked him a long time ago. and smack both of them for getting married so young. This sucker, he doesn't know what he's getting into. She says, this guy is the one that God has been preparing for me, she said. I think the Lord has a lot more important things to deal with in this crazy world of people starving and diseased and all that, and wars, and as opposed to your love life, honey. She says, I've always had these relationships since where there were so many butterflies. Let me start over here. I've had these relationships since where there were so many butterflies and so many like, oh my gosh, checking my phone, did he text? And I realized that's not love, that's anxiety. I never knew where I stood with those people. I could never envision a future with those people. Personally said she now looks forward to a modest, meaningful, and happy future. That part I just read there talking about when she was dating, wanting to know when's he going to text next, the anxiety, the butterflies, never knowing where she stand with these types of guys, but she doesn't have it with this guy. Well, I tell you guys about women and uncertainty. They hate uncertainty. They hate not knowing where they stand with the guy, but they're attracted to that. Who gives gals the uncertainty, the anxiety, not knowing, where she stands with them? The bad boys. Right here. Who are the guys that don't give them the butterflies, don't give them the uncertainty? The nice guys. Nice guys get friend zone, bad boys get in the bed. Until they're ready to settle. She says, moving into my future, I'm not going to be traveling. I'm not going to have a lot of extra money. I'm not going to be going out for fancy dinners, and I'm okay with that. I'm ready for that. I just think that that's what's really going to make me happy. Like, I'm so done with making myself happy. Lady, have you been brainwashed? You're allowed to be happy. You're allowed to enjoy yourself. If going out to a nice dinner on occasion with your husband, or if it was a boyfriend, nothing wrong with that. Or go on vacation. Great. Everybody allowed to enjoy some downtime, some relaxation. I just spent a week in the Bahamas. I had a great time. I work my ass off all the time, as many of you are aware. But I need a fucking week off. It was great and refreshing. And I don't feel bad about it. Had a great time, by the way. Thank you, guys. She says, you think you're happy when you're doing all these things when you're single, to make yourself happy. I don't think you really were. It's the relationships that make you happy. It's building something with another person. It's creating a life with another person, having goals and plans with another person. It's making other people happy. Making people you love happy, that's happiness. I really don't think I will know true happiness until I'm in that place. Well, I hope you find happiness. I really do, because you know what? We need more happy people in this world. But she's rushing into things. It's like one day she panicked, and you can tell this is all coming from a place of fear. Like she's convincing herself that it's all or nothing here. Nope, never can go out to eat again. Never can go to a hotel again. Never can go on vacation again. Nope, I'm going to be happy and serve the world and serve the kids. Ease up, honey. And there's one extreme or another. Attitude is going to probably, when she realizes that having kids is difficult and stressful and all that, having a family is difficult, does a 180 again. While Persling doesn't consider herself a feminist, now we're getting to the feminism stuff, she attributed feminism in part as the reason she had thought negatively about marriage. Well, I'm not saying there aren't some issues there with particularly modern feminism, but at the end of the day, she was a grown-ass adult, made her own choices. She says, I feel unbelievably betrayed by feminism, and I don't want to put it on the movement entirely, because I believe you make your own choices. Okay, I'll give her that. She did say that. But I was constantly fed this idea that women can do everything. We don't need men. I kind of want to go back to some of those teachers and coaches and say, what did you mean by that? Because we can't do it all. Right. Nobody can do it all. No man can do it all. No woman can do it all. There's nothing wrong with having help. Period. But yes, a lot of that attitude has been pushed out there, and it's a mistake, and probably has been pushed by people that are angry, don't like things as they are, and you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we all have to take accountability for our actions, good or bad. And she made the choices that she did, and she made her bed, and she has to lie in it. So yeah, believe me, the movement has, as I said, I'm not downplaying things, elements of the movement, particularly the modern take of the movement. Like, again, speaking code here, because I guarantee you two won't like it if I say the F word too much. Shit you not. But at the end of the day, adults are adults. You make your own choices. I feel like I'm in such a different place now, and I'm so ready for that now. I understand what the sacrifice of marriage is and what the beauty of marriage is now. And I don't think I appreciated what family means for a long time. I don't think I truly understood. She said during the interview, "I don't care if I ever put on heels and go to a fancy dinner again. That stuff does not matter. I promise you, young women, it will not make you happy." Well, there you go. That's the end of the article, and she's blaming feminism for her woes and all that. And then she takes it back. Well, I can't blame for everything, but you get the point. So, guys, be careful. You're going to see a lot more of this. And what concerns me is her just saying words of urgency. Now she's going to rush into a relationship with Mr. Friendzone guy, and he's going to think, yes, the movies were right. If I'm just a nice enough guy, and I be her friend, and blah, 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 that eventually the girl will pick me. That's nonsense. You're getting table scraps. You're not getting her in her prime. I've seen her pictures. Trust me, you're not. You're getting her at almost 40. You know, but this is what a lot of guys. This is why I do what I do, guys, to explain that. Don't let yourself be the last resort. The table scraps, or you get into table scraps. If you are a guy that works hard, takes care of yourself, is in good shape, makes good money, you know. Don't be what somebody settles for. It's ridiculous, and you're going to see a lot more of this. And as for her blame of feminism, again, it's done. Modern feminism definitely has done its damage, and I'm not going to deny that. But at the end of the day, she made her bed. And this one extreme or the other, I think, is not going to end very well. So we shall see. Now, I'm going to read a few comments here before I wrap this up. One guy says here, "Let's see if I understand. In her 20s, did not want kids, married to a good man, but they divorced. Almost 40, decides to settle down with a guy she has befriended, but now apparently he's good husband material. Has decided that now she's prepared for a modest life without fancy dinners or lavish travel. How many times have we seen this story? Feminism is only partly to blame. The other part is Instagram and TikTok." Yep. Yeah, I've read a number of articles or read stories where gals will blame their bad choices on what they saw on TikTok. Okay, yeah, you're a fucking moron. You bought into that. But at the end of the day, you're a grown-ass adult that made those choices. And a lot of these people on those things are morons. And, of course, somebody will say the same thing about me on here, but fair enough. Next one. Guy says, I think it's from a woman. "I'm in my late 30s, married 7 years, partnered for 12 with no kids. Happier in my life and relationship than many of my peers who have ended up in divorced single parents or stay in an unhappy, miserable marriage for convenience or lack of outs. It's not feminism, honey, it's your own personal problems. Also, if lavish dinners, partying, and heels are the only things that brought you joy, I'd be sad and depressed too." Right. She can still treat herself. When you have kids, there's going to be a tighter budget depending on the incomes of mom and dad, but she can still treat herself on occasion to some heels or a handbag or a vacation. Doesn't mean it all has to stop like that, but she's one extreme or the other. And I'm noticing this because I think she's panicking. Another one. This guy says, "Do a search online for female delusion calculator." And never heard of that one. "And know the concept of hypergamy. Men marry younger and poorer, which is the inverse for women. The line given to women is, go to college, get a degree for better life and woman power. Once they have a degree, they pay tens of thousands of dollars for, try hundreds of thousands nowadays. They now need a job/career to pay it off, and kids get in the way. By the time they're in their mid-30s, they realize the men that they want to marry don't exist per their delusion calculator. So they panic, much like this woman, and here's where I disagree with her. Don't blame feminism, but blame yourself for being a sucker and buying it. Thank you. That career isn't going to hold your hand when you're 90 and the Grim Reaper is knocking." And last one, it says, "Married and got bored. Went out and got ran through. Now wants a good guy again. There's part of me that feels bad for all these women. The other part I think is hysterical. Actions have consequences, and in the current society we're living in right now, we have found many ways to have not have to deal with the consequences by lying, cheating, but etc., being used up, getting old, and ultimately lowering your value is one they can't run from. PETA is going to make bank on this generation of cat ladies." Well, I'm a cat man, love my cats, so, fine, whatever. But anyhow, there you go, guys. I haven't done an article in a long time, and I thought it'd be a good one to cover, and I appreciate the dude that sent this in. And guys, by the way, I want to mix things up a bit, so if you find any other good articles for me to cover, definitely send them my way, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. But anyhow, yeah, good one here, but this is an example we're going to see much more of. So guys, yeah, we can get a laugh when she wants to blame the movement for everything, but like I said, and even though I got my issues, obviously, with the movement, At the end of the day, she made her own freaking choices. She's a grown-ass adult, for God's sakes. Stop blaming everybody else but yourself. And be careful, guys, for your relationship, guys, because there's going to be gals like this that wouldn't give you the time of day before, and now they're in a hurry because the clock's ticking. And that could lead, if you're not careful and don't see the big picture, that could lead to an unhappy marriage and relationship if you think that all of a sudden the movies are right. And you get my point. This is an example to be careful, because who knows what's going to happen to that guy she's with. He's not going to marry her, and I hope everything works out. I really do. But the odds are probably won't. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.